Make sure you check out our sponsor over at 714 Tickets. They take pride in providing their customers with transparent pricing and excellent service. With 714 Tickets, you don't have to worry about hidden fees or surprises at checkout. The price you see is the price you pay. Plus, their team is dedicated to ensuring that you have the best shopping experience possible. And as a special thank you, they're offering a 10% discount on your purchase, as well as entering you in a drawing for a free Halos jersey. Also, 5% cash back on your purchase. Only when you use the promotional code HAITI at checkout. That's HITI, HAITI. Get ready to shop with confidence and discover great deals today over at 714 Tickets.
Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield with your host, Todd Fox, as we talk about the week that was, or at least the last series that was, the Chicago White Sox, and we preview and touch on the Houston Astros. We are a day late and $1 short because they're playing a 4-game series instead of a 3-game series. So let's introduce the other two hosts of the show. First up, myself, Todd Fox, and the Lone Star Halo, also known as Christopher Russo. If you understand that, you get points, even though we don't give out points. Next up on the show is the one, the only, the IE native.
Hi. I'm sorry. Hi, you pieces of trash. It's Courtney.
Man, can you imagine putting on lip gloss just to flub your entrance?
I know. I'm so sorry. First of all, it's Summer Fridays. You know, the girlies know. The girlies know.
Summer Fridays.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Fall Fridays? Yeah. What are these free ads? I don't even leave labels on my water bottles, Courtney.
I'm trying to get sponsored by Summer Fridays. I have 3 of their lip glosses. Please help.
That's fair. That's fair. At least because you did a blurred background when you put it up, it blurred it. So
it did come prominent though when you put it right there, so it works.
I know. Okay. I'll try it again next time.
I made a really bad habit of doing that. Like I'll be like literally just like at work and I'll go to a gas station to get a water bottle and I just like by default take the label off. People don't know what I'm drinking. They can't possibly know.
It's vodka. Let's get started with the Angels.
It should be after this series, or at least after the first game of this Astro series.
Yeah, we'll get into that. There's a lot to talk about what happened tonight in Game 1, but let's go back a bit, a couple days. Chicago White Sox, Angels getting it started in the Windy City on the south side. That team came in 11 games under 500 to start the series. Walk in the park, right, guys?
Yeah, we won. Fast forward. Let's talk about the first game of the Astros. No, we won. Liam Hendricks had that cool return. Even cooler that the fact that the Angels scored against him. You know, no disrespect to him. Cool story. I'll tip my cap. That's what sports is all about, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you don't want him to come out here and mow us down either because, you know, like Todd said, you're the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, we won, especially after that sweep that we suffered against the Marlins. I was a little bit concerned for some reason when it comes to teams that are a lower caliber. We just don't perform well, and especially when it comes off of a sweep like that, I almost get twice as worried, and especially because during this time, this is when we were on our 14-game losing streak. So yay! But we pulled it out.
More flashbacks.
I know. Sorry, PTSD. But you know, we pulled it out. It was all fun and yay. It was good. Good things.
Yeah, there was a lot of good to pull out of that particular game. You felt a lot better. You kind of like washed your brain of the Marlins series a little bit. Cleansed your palate, especially when you saw Ben Joyce up there. I was wrong. I thought he was going to be called up a little too early and maybe be forced into something. They brought him in a pressure situation, and he shined. You know, he made some guys look really awful up there with that fastball. So, you know, the bullpen, for the most part, pitched all right, and the Angels got a nice win to start off the series.
There's one guy I want to bring up from this first game. So Keaton Middleton is not liked by a lot of Angels fans. I mean, he was kind of like one of the first guys in the majors who I got cool with. So I've always had a soft spot for him. I know a lot of Angels fans are mad because he said, let's be honest, what's kind of the truth about Angels fans being quiet. I'm going to get hate for that too. But let's be realistic. Angels fans at Angel Stadium, like, this is the first year where I've seen Angels fans boo players off the field, which in some cases, rightfully so, we should be booing some of these guys. Aaron Loop should be getting booed like he just kicked a puppy at this point, man. Like, watching this man pitch is painful. But anyway, I digress. We'll talk more about that later. Keenan Middleton made us look silly. He, struck Ohtani out?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like a convincing strikeout, too. It wasn't even like, he got the best of him. Like, no, like, he made Ohtani look bad.
Yeah, he had the hat spinning and everything.
Yeah.
One thing about Keenan Middleton, I think, I know he bounced around a couple times after he left our organization. I never really had any problems with him. I was actually trying to be his second baby mama. It's fine. He followed me on Instagram for like a month. And then I don't know what happened. I don't think I was posting enough selfies, but it's fine.
You didn't respond to your DMs. If you look on your requests, it's going to be right there under hidden requests.
I know. It's going to be like 55 weeks late, and I'm just like, shit. I fumbled the bag.
As long as it wasn't a DP.
But I will say that I think he's always played with a certain kind of fire. Whether that's how you take it, good or bad. I like a passionate pitcher, let alone a passionate player. And I think that he's always brought that. And I think that's why he clashed with a lot of, I guess, the Angels community, Angels fans, because we seem to be pretty laid back. We kind of don't care about much. We're by the beach, hypothetically. We kind of just have like these vibes about us that's like, oh, it's cool to be here, but don't cause issues. And I don't think Keenan Middleton was ever a player that necessarily was trying to intentionally cause issues. He just called us out for what we are, wussies. So I think I'm happy that he struck out Ohtani, because wow. I just think it just goes to show, like, especially when you're playing an old organization that you used to pitch for, I do think that you should have a certain kind of fire and kind of like, hey, suck it. Look at what you did. And now I'm going to strike out your best player. So good for him.
Yeah, the remark was brought up exactly what she said, was he bounced around a little bit, but he's turned into their Ben Joyce. I mean, he's throwing upwards to 99, almost 100 miles per hour. He looked very comfortable pitching when he was with us. He was uncomfortable, had control problems, but he looked like the real deal. His ERA showing it. He's the type of guy, it's like, it's a slap in the face to the organization. Maybe they didn't give enough time. Maybe they didn't, as we talked off the air, have the right people around him training-wise and medically and all this other stuff. You never know. Mental health is part of it too. But the guy pitched great. And, that's definitely another guy like Hendricks I'd tip my cap to, because they performed, or at least Hendricks, just to get back on the field, and then Middleton having a resurgence for his career definitely is a good thing to see.
Yeah, Ben Joyce was another highlight for that game. I mean, he impressed, man. Well, his first pitch was 102 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, you got to give the devil his due there. I mean, my biggest fear was the same that Todd said during the postgame. I was worried that he was rushed up. I was worried that, he didn't get an opportunity to grow. And I mean, we're going to be seeing that for quite a while. One of the biggest things that we keep seeing is, well, why is Ben Joyce not pitching on back-to-back days? What the fans don't understand is that's not something this guy does. That he did not do that in college. He did not do that with the Trash Pandas. He has not done that. He is not a pitch back-to-back type of guy. And unfortunately, with his pitching style, I don't know if he is going to ever be that guy. And if he is, he might be opening up the door for some long-term arm issues. And he's already had Tommy John. It's really rare for guys to have two Tommy Johns, but it's also really rare for guys to throw 105 after getting Tommy John. So
to me, it just seems like, like I brought it up in the post game too. Like, if the Angels were smart, and if you're going to play into this dumbass load management philosophy, and you're not willing to pitch guys who can pitch, because I do agree with Fernando's take. He's not a back-to-back guy. But if you want to stick with that philosophy, a good way, I don't know how if you guys feel the same way, but let's just say they're winning back-to-back games, which is hard to imagine this team doing. But let's just say they're playing the Astros the next couple nights, and and Moore is healthy. You bridge the gap to the closer, or you get it to the eighth inning. You throw eighth inning Moore, one inning. He gets through it. Estevez closes it out. Boom, they need a day off. So then what do? You take your two next best pitchers, and if the kid is still performing, and he didn't pitch the night before, obviously, why don't you put Joyce in the eighth inning spot, let him close that down, and bridge the gap to another guy who's been pitching really good, closing background, what's his name, Davinsky. So, and then you can go back to the Moore Estevez, because God forbid you pitch him back-to-back. So that would be a way if you had 3 save situations in a row. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's just my idea.
I definitely don't disagree with it. I think it just comes to a point where we do have to take into consideration Joyce's, prior injuries. Again, it's very rare for somebody to have Tommy John twice, but I am also a person that I've torn my ACL twice. So, I feel like injuries are just sometimes one of those things where you just have to be mindful of. But again, mechanics and, I can't imagine throwing, between 100 and 105 on back-to-back nights. I think, again, this just goes into knowing what your role is, and then also taking into account who your player is. I don't think Joyce is a back-to-back night kind of person. Not like Estevez, who he said that he can step up and do that and be that role. I think that just comes with Estevez being more of a veteran, kind of knowing himself, and actually proving that as well. I think Joyce still has a little bit to prove. He is younger as far as, MLB experience, obviously. I definitely don't think it's one thing that he's far away from. I think as long as we give him the opportunity, I feel like he will perform. Just something to be mindful of is that previous Tommy John. And then also just kind of not giving him bad innings. Like, don't set him up with a bad inning. And I think that's one thing that our pitching staff has sometimes done. We've done it with Berea when we first brought him up. I think we also done it with Suarez for a little bit when we first brought him up as well. Just putting our young pitchers in terrible situations that aren't confidence boosters. Like I'm a confidence person. If you have a younger pitcher, an experienced pitcher, give them an easier team or an easier inning. Don't necessarily put them in a jam if you don't have to.
Let's not put them in with bases loaded, no outs.
Why don't we just step away from that? Like, why don't we just avoid that? So I definitely don't want to see Joyce set up in any of those situations, because I think that would definitely be definitely tear down his confidence. I think his confidence was torn down. I think what was that after the Trash Pandas lost the game on a no-hitter? Because I know he's the one that did that, sadly. And for people to say like, oh, well, he's an MLB player, he should get over it. Pitchers are probably the most mental people I have ever met in my life, because, pitching is almost half mental and half physical. So I definitely wish good things for Joyce. I just really hope we know as a pitching staff how to use him.
All right. Speaking of people who we don't know how to use, let's talk about game 2 of this series. Tyler Anderson came in, 4 innings pitched, 6 runs, all of them earned. Tyler Anderson has not been doing too well. He had 2 average starts right before this, but the woes continue for him, guys. Man's getting paid $13.3 million. I know Randy was talking to Todd and I about like, well, what's a way we can use Tyler Anderson going forward? Maybe we can use him out of the bullpen. And, I think Todd and I kind of mutually agreed, you don't pay someone $13.3 million for a low leverage bullpen piece. That's a lot of money for a low leverage bullpen piece. You're talking about a closer. Okay. But I mean, for a guy who's going to essentially be your Chase Silseth, give you 2 or 3 innings. Yeah, it's too much money for that. The only way that Tyler Anderson could potentially make this year's paycheck and payday worth it is in August and September. If the Angels are in a situation where they're close enough where they're still contending, he can stay healthy, and during those, 7 to 9 starts during that stretch there, he can give you 5 to 6 innings on all those and give up less than 4 runs. If he's giving you that, well, then maybe you can make the argument like, well, at least in the dog days, he helped keep us in the hunt. Because as of right now, I do not see Tyler Anderson being the guy. And I'll take it a step further. Tyler Anderson will not be the guy. That's not a hot take. That's me stating the obvious. This guy doesn't have it. He's throwing 89 miles an hour. He's throwing, 92 miles an hour, and that's when this guy's going balls to the wall.
Yeah, the high leg kick, the timing has been thrown off. If you look at his last few starts, you would say, okay, he's not as bad as we thought, or 5 starts against Texas, where the Angels won 5-4. He got a no decision. Let's see, that was that walk-off game. He was 3 runs, 5 hits, but he threw a lot of pitches. The next game, it was a 6-inning performance, 3 runs, 6 hits. The Angels got a win, but he got a no decision. Also against the Orioles, 3 runs, 6 hits, threw a lot of pitches, got no decision I think he got the win. No, he got no decision. He got a win against the Boston Red Sox, 7-3, 6 innings pitched. That's probably his best performance. But again, the loss the other day when we talked about against the Chicago White Sox. In that time, he's only allowed 1 home run in 5 games, but he's not living up to the billing that we thought he would. He's still sporting an almost 6 ERA. And as far as, his career, shouldn't have the Angels seen this coming with his record via Colorado, San Francisco, in Pittsburgh, in Seattle, then with the Dodgers? The Dodgers is, again, the only time that he had, except his rookie year in 2016, a ERA under 4. And he had one at 2.57, the extreme. So are we not surprised he's at a 5.47? Were we hopeful that he would have been better and pitching like more of a number 3 guy? Because right now he's pitching like a 5 or a 6, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm let down. I'm a little let down. I was a little bit excited about having him join our rotation. I know Nick, my boyfriend, he was very hurt when he left the Dodgers. But I think overall, I think I'm just more disappointed than anything. And still, one thing that I think irritates me the most about him is him calling his own pitches. I don't know why he is allowed to call his own pitches. I don't think he's earned that. He doesn't have a huge arsenal the way Ohtani does. I'm not understanding why, Theis or Wallach or whoever wants to call pitches for us at this point. I don't even care if a fan does it. I don't understand why Anderson is calling his own pitches. I don't think he's earned that status at all. And yeah, really, that's just kind of my only gripe about him, other than him not being up to par. I don't understand why he's allowed to call his own pitches. Like, why can't Nevin or, Wise or whoever really step up, be a coach and be like, hey, you know what? Your last couple of starts been rocky. Why don't we try this for this game? Or, why don't we work on this? Like, just something, be a coach.
Yeah. It's kind of easy to see why Tyler Anderson throughout his entire career has been thrown around like a buffet chef in Las Vegas. Just can't seem to find a home. But it's just the simple fact that he lacks consistency, and it's been a career problem for him. He had his resurgence with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers have kind of been a pitching factory lately with everyone except for Noah Syndergaard. And I don't know. We put a lot of faith in him, and luckily we didn't get him for that big of a deal. I know some people are like, well, you're an idiot, dude. That's like the second idiotic thing you've said today. $13.3 million is a lot of money, and you're right, it is. But look at some of these other contracts that were given out. It could have been far worse if we would have signed him later on in the offseason. As of right now, though, this is a bad signing. Unfortunately, most of Perry's free agent pitching acquisitions have been bad signings.
Yeah, there hasn't been something to sit on and say, he's brought in a Corbin Burns or a pitcher like that. We've often just seen the same kind of mistakes. I think as far as drafting, I don't think anyone can question him right now. I mean, with the way these guys are coming through. But as far as and as far as getting free agent pieces to help out, this roster, um, hitting wise, I think he's done an okay job. If Renfroe would start swinging again, that would make things look a lot better. But when it comes to like Tyler Anderson, at the moment, I was there right there with Courtney. I was apprehensive. I was optimistic. I thought, okay, this guy, although he's not the best Dodger free agent at the time because they hadn't signed the other pitcher, I was like, okay, you know what, he did have a really good year. But damn, dude, he has not come through for us, and we need that stability. And with the way that this offense is so heckle and jekyll, it's like we need good performances as much as we can get. And it's asking a lot about this pitching staff once again. And once again, they're going to have to lead this club until and if the Angels start hitting consistently, because he can have an opportunity to win a game by only giving up 3 runs on 6 hits. But again, like today's game, I mean, I can't put it squarely on the freaking pitching. If you can't score runs either, it's not really your fault. But his ERA is still at 5. So I'm not giving him total the crap for it. But damn, dude, I mean, you got to bring down that ERA, and also the team's got to score some runs for you too, because he's gotten a lot of no decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's only had 3 decisions up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the final game, the one that you were talking about, Lance Lynn, and that might be the actual game to use some machismo, and you were right. Angels won 12-5, and our boy Jaime continued to be solid. You got 5 innings out of him. He only gave up 1 earned run. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a home run. He struck out 6. His ERA is now down to 1.59. He's proving that, hey, he's a good 6th man of the rotation. You can't ask for much more out of the guy. And that's what I like about Jaime, man. It seems like no matter what role the Angels have put him in over the last couple of years, he might have some struggles here and there, but overall, he's been a gamer. He's done whatever the organization's needed out of him. Doesn't seem like a guy who complains. Seems like he's always happy to be there. Obviously brought up through the organization. He's the kind of guy that I really, really want to see continue to get a legitimate shot, because he's running away with it so far.
Courtney?
Yeah, I think he's earning a spot. And I like the fact that he's actually taking advantage of that. I feel like Suarez maybe got a little bit too comfortable since, we announced that he was going to be in the rotation. But I don't think Jaime's doing that at all. I think he's really just taking advantage of this shot. Hopefully he continues to keep proving himself and really makes himself known and solidified as one of our starters in the rotation. But I think overall it was a really great start. Love the fact that Ohtani finally found a swing. I'm not going to say it's the swing, but a swing that worked for him for that game. I think that was the game, his 2 home runs. I think Mike Trout had a home run. So great launch angles all around. But we won. So what can we really complain about?
I have something we can complain about.
Okay.
Davidson continues to suck.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. This guy's ERA is now a whopping 7.4. This guy's got to go.
Damn.
Yeah, we got.
He did get a save though.
Yeah.
His second. Second.
This is another blowout save, which, and I don't care at this moment. It's like, just get us out of there. It's a travel day, and he extended the game, gave us some more runs. Another guy that you can't, because unfortunately, with Quijada gone, more on the IL, these are your 2 lefties you got to rely on. That's pretty scary. Tucker Davidson or Loop. So until one of those guys,
poison, pick your kick to the nuts.
Yeah, I mean, right now both of them are sporting 7.5 ERAs. So what are you going to do in a high leverage situation? I don't know.
It's not a good time right now, man. It really isn't. I mean, this bullpen continues to really, really, really just cost this team. And in this case, it didn't matter. Davidson was just in there to get the mop up. I mean, honestly, I always hated that rule that if somebody throws 3 innings to end a game, they get a save, even if you're up by 106 runs.
Yeah,
I've always hated that rule. But, whatever, baseball, go figure. Anyway, I'm not complaining at the fact that we won. We get a lot of hate for that. Like, why are you guys complaining? We won. But this team does not have a reliable lefty. And I mean, realistically, there isn't a lot of bullpen pitchers, period, that they have right now that are reliable. I mean, you can't throw Ben Joyce in there yet. He's had 2 major league appearances. Have they been good? Yes. But I mean, still too early to tell. Silseth? No. Webb? I'm not there yet. He's been decent. I'm not throwing him on either side of the category yet.
Yeah,
Estevez, obviously, Estevez, yes. Matt Moore, yes, but he's hurt right now, so he doesn't count. Aside from that, man, it's like, who else are you comfortable with at this minute putting inside the bullpen in a high leverage situation like in the 7th inning right now? You're up by 1, they're threatening. Who are you putting in? You're not putting in Estevez right there.
Rally Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, we're calling him Brett Phillips just for that.
Exactly. Yeah, we do have a lot to worry about as far as the team's concerned, as far as like trying to see if we can get these reliable arms out there. We do have a couple guys, but that's about it. And this is part of the restructuring. How did they not make the cut of the restructuring? I don't know.
Okay, so that was a good game. The Angels take the series. We get the Rally Chris special. We predicted the Rally Chris special, Todd,
yes,
with Rob. So we saw that coming. I mean, it wasn't exactly a hot take. We were playing the White Sox, okay? So let's not pretend like it was something amazing.
No, I wasn't.
But you know what was amazing? The style in which we lost this first game against the Astros. But before we get into that, this would be a great time to thank our sponsors, Noble Ale. Why? Because after a game like this, I would have loved to have lost my life drinking some Noble Ale and their delicious brews. And I don't mean lose my life as in, have anything bad happen to me. I mean just sit there and drown my sorrows inside of their delicious alcohol. Todd, we had a good time on Sunday at Noble, didn't we?
Oh, we had a blast. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. We got to sample a lot of their brewskis. They were pretty good. So if any of you guys want to drown your sorrows after another inevitable Angels loss, make sure to head on over to Anaheim and check out our friends over at Noble. Make sure to mention the podcast for some drink specials and free parking on the day of an Angels game. Also, 714 tickets. Use code HITTY at checkout. Off their always good deals, you get 5% back on all of your future purchases, and you can use that HITTY code again and again and again, the way Madonna has been used again and again and again by people like Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, no. Oh, no. This is awful. Well, we lost today 5-2. That was fun. Nevin got ejected. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's very disheartening because I know we had a couple opportunities there to really take the lead. I know, of course, the big topic of discussion was Taylor Ward's strike 3 call. Yes, it was obviously ball 4. It could have walked in a run. But that is not the case, because when has anything ever worked out for the Angels? One thing I do want to point out, and I think I pointed it out in our own little group chat, even though your umpire is shitty and you can't control what they call, there is still no reason why you should take the bat out of your own hands and look at a strike down the middle. And I think that's the one thing, as a ball player myself, and 2, even just being an Angel fan watching this team for so long, sometimes we have a tendency to blame outside factors, whether it be a base umpire, a home plate umpire, the sun is too bright, things like that. But that is still no reason why you should let the game even be in the control of somebody else. again, watching a strike down the middle. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Please let me know. The hardest pitch that you can't hit is the one that you don't swing at. So there's that. But I mean, other than that, just a tough loss. But what do we really expect? Houston has everybody in their lineup. Altuve's back. Abreu's in there. Alvarez, that big ass. He's, just towers over everybody. Yeah, we lost. What's new?
You know what's new? Oh, go ahead, Todd.
No, go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
Okay, fine. It was the fact that, again, that pitch that changed everything. I said on the post game, my dad was like, "Well, we lost right there," and it was true. The momentum was lost right there. You have an RBI walking in, you're down a run, maybe Trout can actually come through with a clutch RBI, single, or he could fly one out and tie the game, and then Ohtani strikes out and we lose in extra innings. But the fact is, we could have had an opportunity there, and it was taken away. When you're battling the umpire, and it was not even close, the amount of good strikes the Astros got compared to the Angels tonight. And Nevin did what he was supposed to, run out there, yell at the ump, get thrown out. Okay, about time. Where was this in Chicago when Drury's getting hit in game 3 times in a row? Your ass should have been out there, or you should have been yelling at the other manager who – you want to talk about a manager who doesn't know what's going on. We think Phil sucks. You should go on social media and see what they think of their first-year manager there in Chicago, and what an organization and a joke the Reinsdorfs are in Chicago. Just check that out, because you think we hate our team. Check out what the White Sox do. We love our team. I can't tell if the White Sox actually have love for their team, or it's just a passionate hate. But with that being said, tonight's game, they were battling themselves with the bonehead mistakes by the pitchers early on the game, and then themselves in the box. And if they were actually having good eyes, they were battling the ump too. So, I mean, this game was just set up for a loss.
So what I was going to say is, so every morning, the first 2 podcasts I listen to Locked On Today. They wrap up all the sports stories and all the major sports in 20 minutes. So I listen to that first, and then I'll listen to Locked On Angels. So that's the order I typically go. And then around 11, the Coyotes daily podcast drops for whatever, PHNX Coyotes. Okay, so my point here is the guy who hosts Locked On Today, Peter Bukowski. He's one of those guys who follows this national narrative about like, oh, well, will Ohtani make the playoffs this year? Well, will Trout make the playoffs this year? All right. For anybody who's now just falsely following the same narrative that everyone else has and doesn't do their own research, I got one question for them. Is Mike Trout going to get himself into the playoffs? Is Shohei Ohtani going to get himself into the playoffs? Todd said so himself during the postgame show today. It's just the simple fact of, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. It was always, well, Mike Trout and Ohtani don't have any help. And for the longest time, that was a true narrative. All of a sudden, these guys have a team around them. What's the excuse? Well, yeah, I understand. There's some mismanagement of the bullpen. Yeah, sometimes the bullpen blows it late. But what about how many times, dude? I've lost count how many times this season there has been a clutch moment. And clutch means a situation, in my opinion, because this, we keep moving the goalposts, so be it. Great, I'm moving them again. Because F it, this is America. And that's what we can do in this country. And we do things all the time in this country to fit our own personal narratives. And if you don't believe me, you're brand new to this goddamn country. Anyway, I'm moving the goalposts again. And what I'm saying is, to me, a clutch moment is any time where you yourself have a chance to make an immediate impact on that game. And like I told Swilly in the suite on Sunday, at the end of the game, at the end of the day, your only job in baseball, and by default softball, is to get on base. Doesn't matter what you do. Your job isn't to get hits. Your job isn't to get a home run. Your job isn't even to drive in runs. It's to get on base. If you can do all that extra stuff, even better. But your only job is to get on base. Is that true or false?
It's true.
Yeah. like I said, there's added benefits, of course. Yeah, getting a home run, getting an RBI, that stuff's great. But your only job's to get on first, and anything better is a plus. So I understand, yes, getting on base, that's something positive. If bases were loaded and Trout drew a walk to score in a run that way, great. You did your job, Trout. Give the guy behind you the opportunity. That's the other thing in baseball. Baseball is not an individual game. Your job is to get on base, give the guy behind you the opportunity. And I haven't even seen that lately. There has been an astronomical amount of times where Ohtani or Trout have the opportunity to put this team on their back to no avail. We've seen it again and again. And all we continue to see is, oh, well, Shohei Ohtani has to leave if he ever wants to win. Shohei Ohtani has to do something if he wants to win. Because right now, that man's not a winner. Right now, Mike Trout, he's not a winner. I'll make the argument that most guys on this Angels roster aren't winners because they haven't had prolonged periods of success in their career. Who on this team is a winner? Okay, by default, you can throw Anthony Rendon in there because he had a good year in 2019, and he's still hanging off of those good vibes, the same way that apparently we're hanging off the good vibes from the sushi thing 3 years ago.
Oh, damn it.
So
Drury's a winner. He was on the Padres for their one postseason appearance.
what did they win, Courtney? They won nothing that year. They made it to the
which is further than what we have.
You know what? Okay, that's fair. And the whole thing in sports is to make the dance. Once you make the dance, you never know what can happen. So I'll give you that. Yes, he's made it farther than most of these other guys. But take a look around the roster. There isn't a lot of winners on this team. I'm trying to go through the mental checklist right now. Gio Urshela, he's probably made some postseasons, right?
But to me, there's a group of talent that if utilized, coached right, managed right, they could be something special. Now, I'm not calling them the 86 Mets or the best Angels team of all time. Nothing like that. But this team could be something to, actually be proud of and that they can get to the postseason. The players are there. And if we're like biting into that narrative of, hey, like you said, Fernando, and like I said on the post game tonight, they've had many opportunities, or we've always said to Shohei, Trout, they're not there. They don't have the talent around them. Well, we got the talent around them now. You got the pitchers in place. Let's do it. And again, in a chance, in an opportunity where a lot of us were screaming at, hey, man, we should be off to a better start because Houston and Texas are going to come around. Well, Texas ain't going away yet. Like I've been preaching and hoping that they would. Houston is catching up or past us. Seattle is right there with us. So we've created our own hole. This team has created its own hole. They're underperforming yet again. And again, like you said, you got two of the best players on the team. And right now they're reminding me of the Padres. But if you were to ask me, with the stars that the Padres have compared to the stars that the Angels have, obviously they have the better talent. Obviously they're underperforming, but you know what they've been doing lately? Winning, and they're catching up to us in the standings. And it would not shock me one bit if that team from San Diego makes the playoffs and the Angels don't, despite the starts.
Yeah, man, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's just one of these things, and I actually was talking to Nick about it when we talk here baseball at the house. And he was like, man, like, especially after the game on Sunday, he was like, it sucks, when Ohtani and Trout, like, both suck. And I was like, yeah, feel our pain. We feel our pain that all the time when we watch a game, especially this year. And I think, the narrative, especially the last couple of years, when's Trout going to make it to another playoff? When is Ohtani going to make a playoff? And in the past years, yes, we haven't had the team to do that, to help support them. Now this year, I feel like it's a completely different narrative, or at least true Angels fans should see that. It's not the fact that we don't have talent anymore. Sure, we have a sketchy bullpen, and sure, maybe we don't get managed in the appropriate way sometimes. But at the end of the day, we actually do have the talented team in order to help carry both of the greatest players in baseball to a playoff. But the two greatest players in baseball also have to contribute. And I think that's one thing that they are severely lacking this year. I don't know what's up with Ohtani's swing. I know he had the 2 home runs against Chicago on that last day. Great, fantastic. That's what you should be doing. But when it comes to an important game, something like the Astros, something where it comes to people in our own division, what's Ohtani doing? He's pulling out, helmet swinging off his head, and all this stuff. So I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Trout just looks at everything down the middle and looks confused as to why he got struck out. So it's just like, you guys still have to contribute. Like the narrative should no longer be, oh, when are they going to make the playoff? It's when are they going to help themselves make it to a playoff?
Just doesn't fit the national narrative, though. You know what I mean? We got to blame the team. We got to blame the pitching, which, you can blame the bullpen pitching right now, sure. But it's tiring, man. It's the same song and dance. It's been the same song and dance. People tell us all the time, like, I don't know how you guys continue to do it. And as of right now, I'm at the point where I'm like, God, how do we continue to do this? We've been covering a losing team for so long. It's frustrating. It really is. We continue to be mismanaged. We continue to put the wrong guys in the wrong spot. I mean, Taylor Ward had a decent game that last game against Chicago where he batted cleanup, and I thought that was idiotic. But, I mean, hey, at least he did something. And what do? We put him at leadoff, and he gets a single hit. Still batting .231. What are we doing here with your philosophy?
I don't get it either. It's something that, again, I get it. This organization's very stubborn from the top down. They don't listen to reason. They do their own thing. They're not questioned very much outside of Sam Blum. There really is nobody holding these guys to the fire. And Sam Blum isn't a national writer to where he can get clout to get pressure on this team. Look at the teams that have the most aggressive media presence. And usually they're the teams that fear losing, fear hearing the negativity, and the owners or owner makes the move to better the team to then appease the media and the fans who hold that team and franchise to a higher standard. The real fans out there are not only the ones trying to hold this team to the fire, we're also trying to push aside and talk sense into the Halo honks. The ones like your Vals out there who just, hey, this guy got DFA'd. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. We're in third place. No, we're not. We're in first. This team is good. You're stupid. That needs to change.
We should DFA Loop. No, we should give him an extension.
Exactly. That kind of mentality of the Halo honks, the true Halo honks, has got to change. And we need a media to be more aggressive and hold this team to a higher standard. Yes, we're not Los Angeles. That whole charade is stupid as fuck. Sorry. But I believe that we're in a Southern California market. We should be considered a big market team. We sure as hell spend like one. I don't see the Pirates doing this, and they're able to at least be in contention for a while. So, I mean, we should be held to a higher standard. And there just isn't any of that. And that's why this team continues to be, like you guys talked about earlier, being run as a moneymaker other than a team that's out there to actually win.
And you said something interesting on today's post-game show. You had said that we're at a point now where, like, fans are actually starting to be vocal now against Halo honkism. You know what I mean? Like, for the longest time, it was like, whatever. Like, who cares? Whatever. Let these guys have their day.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, you have audience members, whether they're our audience or not, who are now turning into realists. They're waking up from this Halo honk, situation like we all have. And it's just like they're finally starting to attack some of the Halo honk narrative with facts. It's like, no, Anthony Rendon is not a great third baseman right now. No, he was not a good signing. We're people are finally starting to have these conversations, and it's just like, oh, well, here's these guys again ragging on Rendon or Ohtani or Trout. It's just like, No, we're not ragging on these guys, man. I want Trout to come through. Literally, on that Sunday game, we all went absolutely ballistic when we thought that Trout hit that bloop hit over the second baseman's head in the bottom of the ninth inning, dude. We were going freaking mental. But no, this guy turned into a Gold Glover and made one of the best catches ever. Same thing with Renfro's hit that same game.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, we want to cheer for winning baseball. But when did it not become appropriate to hold your best players accountable? When did that become so bad? That's just being a lazy, fair weather fan. If you're going to just be like, whatever, brush it to the side and be like, I was a Halo honk too. Todd's admitted that he was a Halo honk years ago because there was a period there where I gave this organization the benefit of the doubt. Why? Because they earned it from 2002 to, I'll say 2015. They gave me enough of a reason where it's like, it's fine. We'll make the playoffs. Okay, all right. We didn't make it this year. Next year. And no, we didn't make it after 2009. That was our real last legitimate chance where we probably should have, at least made it to the World Series. Maybe not one, because, you can't really do that in baseball. You can't assure that. But I think we should have made the dance that year. 10, 11, 12, 13, there was no playoffs. But once again, they were so good during that mid-2000s period. 14, best team in baseball, got swept by the Royals. Okay, yeah, tails old as time, we know. And ever since then, man, it's been a whole lot of nothing. So at this point, I think we should be at the point where we are vocally upset. We should be allowed to hold these players accountable. Why? Because we cohesively give them our hard-earned money. And not only that, forget the money thing that you guys all work so hard for. You give them your time. You don't get your money back. Your money comes back. You work. You invest. You do stuff to get money. Your time's never coming back. After that Angels game today, that awful loss, what do you get out of it? Well, don't worry. You're 2.5 hours closer to death. 3.5 hours if you watch Todd's postgame show. There you go. That's another hour you invested, towards this team.
I think it's just one of those things where it's just disheartening. You guys have covered the team for 3 years, and then I've 2 seasons now. I think it's just one of these things where we know the capability of this team. Every year, it's always the same narrative. Oh, the Angels on paper have one of the best lineups. And when it comes to season, it just doesn't happen. And I think it's really just sad. But for people to sit there and say like, oh, we're, us as a collective page, we're one of the most negative podcasts, or we're one of the, the most negative people to cover Angels baseball. It's not even the fact that we're trying to be negative. It's not like we're telling the Angels, it's not, we don't want the Angels to lose. Nobody wants their team to lose, nor is it going to be the opposite either. We're not telling them to be perfect. Like, just because we want them to win, we understand we're going to lose. We understand that we're not going to win all 162 games this year. We understand that. But we're coming to the realization that we also shouldn't be shitting the bed. There's no reason why we shouldn't have swept A's. There's no reason why we shouldn't have swept the White Sox. There's no reason why we shouldn't have swept easier teams. So for us to be mad as a fan base, we need to hold our best players, our coach, or Artie, for the, for lack of what it's worth. We need to hold these people accountable. We're mad. We're pissed off. How do we have the 2 greatest players in baseball, even though they shit the bed themselves? We're fucking angry. Like, now for me, it's turning into anger. It's not even disappointment anymore. Now it's anger. I've loved this team for a majority of my life as a child and now as a young adult, and they sucked it. They just suck. And it sucks because my stepson loves Ohtani. When we were at the game on Sunday, that's all he wanted to see was Ohtani, and he knows Trout, he knows a couple other players, but that's my kids are going to watch the Angels at some point in time, and they suck. They just suck, and they don't have to. And I think that's what angers, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for all of us, that's what angers us the most. We suck when we don't have to. Like, there's no reason why. Again, we shouldn't have swept the White Sox. We shouldn't have swept the A's on opening weekend. But for us to be called, a negative podcast because we're actually pointing out these critiques, and we're genuinely upset, fuck off. Fuck off. Like, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to be Sir Halo Honk or Mrs. Halo Honk, then go ahead. Honk your honk all you want. The grass is always greener. Sky is always blue. Have at it. But when you're paying money to see a team that, on paper, again, if you were to go to the Marlins series, we have a far better, I don't care what you think about their starting rotation. Our hitting should still hit that rotation. Alcantara or not, however you say his name. They've got some good pitchers, but we should have scored some runs, and we didn't. And it was miserable. The one thing I'll say is this. The Angels now hold, and it's no shock, no secret. It's been out there since the start of the season. The longest non-playoff appearances as far as seasons concerned after the.
And they're tied with the Tigers.
Yeah, they're tied with the Tigers. So let's think about that for just a second now. The Mariners had the longest streak by 21 years before they popped their cherry last season. Now, think about it. In 8 years, at least every team in the major leagues, whether you think Oakland's a shit organization, Ohio is, Kansas City, all those teams, including Washington, including Miami, at some point or another made the postseason. And can you tell? Yeah, even the Rockies? Can you tell me though? Out of all those teams that made the postseasons for those teams, was there a Trout and Ohtani on those teams at any time in Colorado, in Miami, and was there two big superstars like that, top 5 players? No.
What is no?
Yeah, what is no for 100? I'm going to finish this off with, it boggles my mind, if you want to blame the players, if you want to be that fan, or you want to blame the organization and the ownership, that's where you got to lie the blame, because that is inexcusable. That Major League Baseball used to have decades for some teams that not make the playoffs. Hell, the Pirates, every team you can name has made the postseason except this one and the Tigers. And even the Tigers were good before that. So and
the saddest part is the Tigers didn't even try for, most of those years. The Angels have been trying.
Yeah, they have been trying, exactly. But like you said on the last podcast, and we've said on the last podcast, we should have hit the hard reset button. And what differentiates our team and organization from every other one is that about 70% of those teams didn't reload to get back to the postseason. They hit the reset button, they went through the process, and they got there. Whether their streak was for 1 year, 2 year, or whatever, they did the hard work and put in the time, and they got back to the promised land. What did we do?
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We did nothing. We kissed Artie's ass, and we're like, "You're doing a good job, sir."
And it's just, and it's frustrating. People continue to be like, "Well, just don't go to the stadium then. That's going to make a difference." It's just like, I can't do that. I'm not wired like that. Like, I need baseball. I need to go to an Angels game.
Yeah.
My life is centered around baseball. Well, just take a break. Your life shouldn't be centered on sports. I'm sorry. I've essentially lost a marriage because I picked this podcast over it. I
wouldn't go there, buddy.
Okay, but you knew what most of our fights were about. Well, all you ever do is care about the podcast.
Yeah, but what did I get out of it, huh? I didn't get no play. At least you got play. Oh wait, did I say that on air? Sorry.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. I have to make an analogy a couple weeks ago that you and I are married to this project. So I think Todd's trying to pitch some kind of narrative I'm not aware about.
Trying to get married again.
Yeah, before November. Sorry, Stibble.
The early
Oh,
bird catches the worm, literally.
Oh no.
stop it.
Oh, that's a really bad joke. If you really dive into it, if you
Stop it.
dissect it, it's even worse.
Um,
Anyway, on that note, let me just end with this. It's just the good thing is that we're allowed to have these kind of discussions, and our audience is to the point where most of them agree with us. Yeah, we get the people who are like, well, these guys are idiots. Okay, cool, whatever. This podcast isn't for you. This podcast isn't for everybody, and it shouldn't be for everybody. But our job has always been to cover this team down the middle. The way I see it right now, this is not a winning organization. We talked about why off air for reasons that it wouldn't be professional if I brought up. Everyone's always like, well, these guys don't know anything. No, we know everything we need to know. But at the end of the day, we are not newsbreakers. We are not paid to give this type of news. But everything that I was explaining to you guys weren't surprised by. It's just this, it hasn't been a winning organization for a long time. And I'll make the argument that Artie Moreno never cared about this team anything other than being a cash cow. He milked the Disney success for what it was worth. He made one or two good moves early on in his ownership that panned out. Bartolo Colon, Vladimir Guerrero, those were two big moves that panned out that overtook the bad other contracts, right? The Gary Matthews Juniors of the world. None of that had really mattered. You were still kind of riding the coattails of all these other good moves. The Torrey Hunters, the re-signing of Jared Weaver, that stuff. Like those were still panning out to the point where this team was still making the playoffs. So the bad moves didn't matter. Now what do we have to show for it? Nothing. We're not making the playoffs. We're not in a good situation right now. You had somebody say in the postseason, like, oh, well, we need to hit the hard reset button because we have some good building blocks. No, we don't. If you hit the hard reset button, that's going to include everything. You have to tear it down to the studs. We will be the Oakland A's. Why? Because nobody on this team has trade value besides Zach Neto, a healthy Logan O'Hoppe, Reed Detmers, Patrick Sandoval. Those are the guys that have trade potential. Who else on this team has trade potential? Oh, well, Renfroe. Okay, well, he's a rental. Gio Urshela, he's hitting well. He's a rental. Shohei Ohtani, he's a rental. Nobody on this team has value besides the young guys. So, no, if you hit the reset button, bring up the trash pandas because that's all we're going to have left. And you know what? Unfortunately, if we don't make the playoffs this year, that's probably the direction we need to go. Get ready for the dark days.
Oh,
I thought we were in the dark days.
I know. I was like, what is
Oh,
this?
no. Because right now we've been trying to contend for the last decade.
We're in fourth place in our division. What are you doing?
Yeah, and we've been ending there recently the last couple of years. That's where we've been. Fourth place.
God, this is sad.
But at least if we tear it down, at least there's a direction. I can live with the direction. Being a Coyotes fan, I can live with, well, we're going to be on a hard rebuild. It's going to suck for 3 years. Okay. I can live with that because there's a organizational shift. We're dumping all these big contracts. We're going to suck for 3 years, but in 3 years, it'll be worth it. Okay, great. We have a plan. Look at all these other teams that have had long-term success. Look at the Astros. They were dog water for a long time. They drafted well. They traded away their pieces. They tore it down to the studs, built from the ground up. Oakland does it all the time. The Cubs did it. They won a World Series. The Royals did it. They won a World Series.
Yeah, it can be done.
Not if you don't commit.
Not with Artie.
Yeah. And Artie won't do it because he knows that it's going to mean losing money. And you should have had the chance, Artie.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, again, very disheartening. I'm angry. I'm mad. Should we do predictions for the rest of this Trastros series or no?
We're gonna win one game.
Okay.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, after tonight's debacle, I had a few people on there saying, "Oh, we're going to win 3 out of 4 after this." I'm like, "How? How?"
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm not at the point where I'm willing to give up on the season. Obviously, I'm not going to say something naive like it's early, but I'll certainly say like, we're at the point now where we could still control our own destiny this month. We're playing the Astros and the Rangers this month. So, but are we proven we can hang with those teams? No. This is the worst I've ever felt for a team that's 2 games over 500. Are we still 2 games or is it now 1 game?
it's 2 games.
Okay. This is the worst I've ever felt about an Angels team that's 2 games over 500 in the month of June.
Yeah. I mean, last year at this point, I think we were under 500 now. The losing streak had overtaken us. So right now, as it stands, we are 30-28. At least we're 18 games ahead of the A's. So we have that going for us.
Hooray! We probably don't have to worry about 5th place.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about 5th. They've got that on lockdown.
That's a nice little cushion for us. That's good.
You know what's hilarious, though, real quick? I passed this stat the other night on the post game after Chicago about Oakland, real quick. Their run differential, so they've allowed nearly 400 runs, which is tops in the majors. That's a lot. The Ohio team has scored actually Detroit has only scored 9 more runs than the Oakland team has scored.
Or how many more wins do they have?
Well, they have 26. They have 14 more.
Jeez.
So right now, Oakland has the worst run differential, minus 195.
Well, you're on the topic of run differential because you keep trying to say that you're not worried long term about Texas. They have one of the highest run differentials in all of baseball.
Correct.
Dude, they were literally on the Tampa Bay Rays coattails, and I think they've since left the Rays in the dust, right?
No, the Rays still have well, as far as run differential, they're 12 runs better at 131 to plus 119, but the Rays have the overall better record at 40-18.
Okay. I'm just saying, man, you keep trying to say that Texas is going to fall off. I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. Honestly, man, I'm pretty worried about Texas at this point.
Well, we got to take care of our own shit first. So I'll give you that. But as far as their starters, look, I'm gonna tell you like this right now. Let's see, non-roster active. Hold on, depth chart for the rotation. Jacob deGrom is still on the IL. No need when he's coming back. Andrew Heaney, we have faith in this guy. We have faith in John Gray, who's bounced around. Martin Perez can get lit up at times. Nathan Eovaldi's an injury waiting to happen. Jake Odorizzi is already on the 60-day DL. They already lost Glenn Otto on the 60-day IL.
Forgot Jake Odorizzi was still breathing.
Yeah, I mean, they do have Dane Dunning, who's performed really good. That's a guy. That's probably the only guy out of the rotation I'm actually worried about because he's actually playing pretty good. But other than that, I don't really see anyone out of this bullpen. What, Brock Burke, Josh Spores, Jonathan Hernandez, Jose LeBlanc, and Will Smith. Come on.
Yeah, but they're both – I mean, their bullpen's been decent enough to get them wins, and their offense is clearly scoring.
It doesn't matter if they hit.
But can they – but the Yankees have hit too in the past, and did they ever win World Series on that? No.
Nobody's saying that the Rangers are going to win the World Series. Let's make that abundantly clear now.
Yeah, but I'm saying they'll falter. I'm just saying I don't think they'll get to that spot.
I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. Where we currently stand, barring any major injuries for them, and keep in mind, Corey Seager has been out for a giant chunk of the season. He just came back for them.
Greatest player of all time.
Yeah, they're doing this without one of their big guys. They're doing this without essentially their Mike Trout, without their Ohtani.
Yeah, I don't think this is a fluke. I mean, maybe they'll peter out, maybe they won't be as strong, but I still feel like they'll be first or second after the All-Star break. Like I don't think they're going to die out as soon as we hope, as soon as we think. But I think they make the playoffs.
Okay.
I don't know about making it to the World Series or anything like
Yeah,
that.
no.
Okay,
But
if they make the postseason, I will tell you guys, I will be the first one to eat whatever crow you guys are serving. I will take my lumps for that one. But prepare if they do fade and we do jump them, or at least they don't make the playoffs and we don't make the playoffs, I'm going to throw that in your face.
That's fine, and I hope you're right because I'm not cheering for Texas. They're in our division.
Yeah.
I want the Angels to make the play. I need the Angels to make the playoffs. We have yet to cover winning baseball on this network, and that is the most depressing fact of all.
It is. But I will say this to Rangers credit real quick. Last thing I'll say. If the Rangers make the postseason this year in any capacity, and even if they don't, but they're right there, even if they fade at the end, dude, Bochy has to get manager of the year. I mean, you can see what managers do for teams. Hello, we should have did something.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, my prediction. We're going to get swept.
Oh, man. He's not even giving us the win.
No, none. Absolutely not. The pitching matchups. I think Ohtani is tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's the game I think we win.
Against Farmer?
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot because Framer was supposed to pitch today.
Yeah. So it's Ohtani versus Valdez. I'll just say Valdez because I can't say his name either. Ohtani versus Valdez tomorrow.
Do we think it's at least a pitcher's duel? Like, do we think like Ohtani at least kind of like matches him?
Yeah, okay. I think it'll be a good pitcher's duel. I still think we take the L. I don't know who's gonna do it. Like I hope Ohtani doesn't get the L. I hope somebody else fucks up, but we definitely don't win. And then we got
hopefully it's like Tucker Davidson.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully for Loop.
I want Luke to be DFA'd. Luke doesn't get DFA'd by the end of this series, dude. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be something wild though.
Yeah. And then we have my husband, Sandoval versus Javier. Sorry. Javier on Sunday. That will also be an L, and it will completely be Sandoval's fault. And then
it's a Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. And then we have Canning versus France on Sunday.
God, all of a sudden I'm like, should I have said sweep?
Yeah.
I'm not confident about any of these, dude. I'm not even trying to be funny.
Yeah, bringing out the sweep.
That curveball in that stadium, if it's up for Canning, because that would be the game to win, is that France game at the end. But if he hangs a curveball, they're going to hit it into the porches on either side. So
Alvarez is going to hit it on the other side of Houston if he.
Yeah, I might have to go the sweep route, but just for the hell of it, what's left of my honk, I'm going to go for the Angels winning the last game of the series.
I'll go for the Saturday. I'm gonna stick to my one game. They'll win the Saturday game because the Sunday game they're gonna rest everyone and their mom. So we can't have Ohtani play. We can't have Trout play. Renfroe can't play. Like Phil, we're out of bench pieces. All right, just put the bullpen guys out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see that. By the way, real quick, I just want to entertain you guys. It could be worse segment of the show at the end here. We could be the Kansas City Royals starting pitcher Jordan Lyles. He started 11 games so far this year. He has a record of 0-9. 61 innings pitched. He has allowed already 16 home runs, and he has a 7 ERA. There you go. Don't feel so bad.
What are they, Julio Teheran? No, my one in the Trevor Cahill.
Oh God. Okay. Well,
yeah. Not our best episode. We were sitting here complaining the whole time. I'm sure there's no way that anybody listening to this entire episode.
Sorry.
So we could throw a racist remark in right now and it'd be okay.
Absolutely not. No.
At rocks in the outfield.
By the way,
but they did it like 3 minutes in an episode. It was something crazy.
Yeah, shout out to the Quakes for hiring that Nimrod, huh?
Yeah, man. Throw out the J word like he was throwing out the word Jordan.
Dude, he was throwing out that J word like it was Malfoy from Harry Potter when he says Potter, like that hard P, Potter, like
Potter.
So hard. Like he said it so hard.
Well, there you go. Anybody who might have been listening from the UK is now offended.
Sorry. It was a Harry Potter joke.
Yo, go watch your fake sport, Quidditch. Well, I mean, that is a fake sport, so.
Boy,
Well,
Stevie Lise will be mad because she loves Harry Potter #1 and #2. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I've never watched a Harry Potter movie.
Me
Many
neither.
women have tried to make me watch a Harry Potter movie, but
What?
none of them have succeeded.
I'm with you right there. See, that's why we're brothers, bro. She's so mad. I can't get past the part in the first movie where Harry Potter is underneath the, I guess, his uncle's living
The staircase?
Yeah,
that's pretty early on. I think the farthest I've ever made it was that one scene where they're in that purple little car thing and it gets stuck in a tree or whatever.
That's the second movie. Wait, what?
That's the second movie? Oh, damn. So, well, there you go. So I guess I haven't even watched the first one.
Wait, hold on. You uncultured swine. You mean neither one of you?
Hey, I only ever committed to watching the movie once, and it was with the woman that you consider a child. I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. Let's ball out. That's fine. I was willing to do a lot of stuff for that woman that didn't happen.
Well, because she has the mind of an 8-year-old, and she's probably a Disney princess somewhere in her head. Wait, I'm still stuck on the fact that
I would have signed up for that fairy tale.
You're annoying. Wait, neither one of you would watch Harry Potter. This is a whole other episode that we need to cover this with.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
You know, I will call in sick for that one.
Yeah.
Ooh. See, I was the nerd. I was pushing people at Barnes and Noble so I could go get the book.
Oh my God!
I mean, at least you didn't say Borders.
Why are you not best friends with Stevie Lise? That's her like favorite place to go. She loves she buys those wands. She reads all the books. I mean, she reads everything from what is it? The Lord of the Rings. What's it called? Game of
the
Thrones.
Hobbit. Oh, the Game of
The Hobbit.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you know, everyone has a flaws. You just found hers. That's fine. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
You know what? I'm starting to reconsider being part of this page now. Yeah,
people are definitely reconsidering listening.
By the way, last thing I'll say, I know I've said that like 3 times, but you know the remake or the last Harry Potter, I guess one in the future where they have the new people. I don't know the name.
Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, the one that Johnny Depp was supposed to be in, but he got
that's the old one. It's actually a prequel, but proceed. Yes.
Oh, okay. So she dragged. It was my turn to take her to a movie, and she picked that one. And I kept bugging the crap out of her all movie because I'm like, "What's he doing in it? Why are they flying around? What's that demon thing?" And she's,
"You mean the Dementors?"
Yeah, she was like, "Shut up and just watch the movie." I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Hey, see, I know enough about Harry Potter. I've been on the ride. I went on the ride. Dementors!
Oh my no.
Opulus Repair!
Oh shit. Okay.
Well, Observatory!
If you've made it this far into the podcast, thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to our sponsors for everything.
Yeah, if you made it this far, we deserve a 1-star review. Go ahead and give us one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of Harry Potter fans have a
emotional damage.
Okay, first of all,
including Courtney. Good night to everyone except people who drive a Nissan Altima.
Oh, good night, guys.